Hello, everybody. My name is Mr. C. Ferrante, and today I'll be taking a look at level 11.2 Perdition Exclusion Zone. Survival difficulty, class Dead Zone. Environmental hazards, strictly uninhabitable, potential for anomalous entities. The Perdition Exclusion Zone is a sublevel found within Layer 11. Description: flagged outside of a radioactive power plant in Level 11 is the Perdition Exclusion Zone, an area roughly 75 kilometers in diameter and spanning nearly 1,000 city blocks of variously destroyed urban constructions. Its purpose is to warn of radiological contamination and reduce the spread of isotopes by discouraging poaching or scavenging within the area. Inside the epicenter of the zone is the Perdition Compound, the nuclear facility which has been spewing radioactive nuclei into the surrounding area with uncontrolled abandon for an unknown amount of time. The risk of coming into contact with radioactive materials increases the deeper into the zone you travel. The fringe borders of the area are largely safe to be inside, with the levels of radiation rising steadily as you travel closer to the Perdition Compound. The first control zone within the exclusion area narrows into a 60-kilometer diameter around the plant. This is where visitation without protective gear will likely expose you to dangerous levels of radiation. Deeper still lies the confiscated zone, anywhere within a 40-kilometer diameter of the epicenter. Travel within this area is considered acutely hazardous and potentially lethal from mere hours of exposure. Due to the large size of this level, it is impossible to maintain policed borders. Procedures of flagging, fencing, or accurately marking the perimeter of the zone have been considered, yet the resources required are beyond what the MEG is willing or capable of expending as of this time. Digitally mapping out the region on handheld apps has been the only reasonable method of declaring the zone to settlers of level 11, and the zone has been barricaded and flagged on major highways leading towards the Perdition Compound where possible. Facelings discovered within the zone are to be avoided or killed on sight. Depending on how long they have wandered the area, they may harbor within themselves dangerous levels of radioactive isotopes and spread them mindlessly. The Perdition Compound. Warning: this level potentially holds an entity marked as a doomsday level threat to the citizens of level 11, known as the Kraken. The hellish epicenter of the radioactive activity lies within the nuclear power plant within the zone, dubbed the Perdition Compound. Unsuccessful drone flyovers have been attempted to record radiation levels and take photography of the plant. However, the potency of the radiation knocks them out of the sky, and without proper protection, the fragile motherboards and circuits of the drones simply melt away. In order to perform any sort of proper survey of the site, a compass point team decided to enter on foot, shielded by full-body hazmat suits, wearing plates of lead, and finally zipped into all-white padded cloth coveralls. A 15-man team entered the plant looking to uncover its history. The exploration team's instruments began to fail from radiation, although a handful of photos were recoverable. The following information regarding the Perdition Compound is sourced from this single investigation by members of the Compass Point Survey. The Perdition Compound is not a regular nuclear plant. The inside is dark, pitch black, yet there are insects here which glow an eerie shade of rusty orange. The team also recorded instances of signage which seemed out of place for a nuclear facility. Biohazardous warnings. In the heart of the compound lies the reactor room, its vaulting ceiling reaching nearly 80 feet into the air. Everything inside had been bombarded by intense radiation which eroded much of the internal structures to dust, and the reactors, as well, were long since gone. In their place, claimed the team, lays an abyssal hole as wide as a city block and reaching deep, deep into the ground. A lit road flare thrown into the pit descended endlessly until out of view, and the radiation emitting from the depths of this void maxed out the team's instruments. It was deduced that the core of the reactors, after melting down, had exploded in a similar fashion to Pripyat's Chernobyl catastrophe. The immense heat and radioactive emissions melted the surrounding equipment into a metallic radioactive sludge, a molten ball of slag which began to burn through the lower basement levels of the compound, gaining more material and traction, and snowballing ever larger as it sunk. The reaction was potent enough for it to bore even deeper into the very ground of level 11 itself, burning a pit of unknown depth which funnels endless radioactive particles upwards in a toxic spew. What was strange, however, was the apparent claw marks left along the inside of the reactor room and along the sides of the pit. The team described deep, gouging tears along the surface of everything within. These claw marks, as well as the biohazardous signs and strange nature of the compound, has led the MEG to believe the reactor core was, in fact, a potent nuclear entity. Its radioactive heat and destructive nature buried it deep within a hellscape of its own creation, the pit of the Perdition compound, from which it may be desperately trying to escape. A living elephant's foot, slowly inching its way from the depths, yet sinking ever further from the burning molten potency of its radioactive nature. Without a means of collecting any further data, the reactor core of the compound has been labeled the Kraken and listed as a doomsday potential for societies within Level 11. No further investigations into the Perdition compound have been planned. Colonies and outposts. There are no manned colonies or outposts within the Perdition Exclusion Zone. However, there is an unmanned way station along the fringes of the level before the first control zone. Perdition Outpost 1, Pop 1. It is a small apartment building shielded by the brunt of the isotopes by a handful of taller buildings it was constructed beneath. The 7 floors of this residential building have been refurbished to house protective equipment and hazard appropriate gear for expeditions into the level. POP1 is large enough to comfortably hold 200 members at any time, yet there are never any rations or potable water stored on the premises due to the possibility of radiation poisoning. Entrances and exits. The exclusion zone is a sub-layer within Level 11 and physically takes up space within its parent level. There are countless highways, streets, residential roads, pedestrian walkways, and subway rail lines which lead into and out of the zone. The MEG has marked as many of these entries and exits as they are able to, but the most reliable way to avoid the area is to either follow the digital map made by the MEG or to carry a Geiger counter on your person and avoid areas of higher contamination.